Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar, Digital Payments Revolution, Cut Costs, Reduce Risk, and Turn AP into a Data Source with Bill.com. My name is Lauren Hogan, and I'm a Regional Marketing Coordinator here at JMT. We're very excited to have Mitchell Yee and Carol Amos from Bill.com joining us today. So just a couple of housekeeping notes before I turn it over to Mitchell. If you have any questions during the webinar today, please go ahead and submit them into the Q&A section as you think of them. We'll save them all until the end of the presentation, but don't hesitate to submit them as they come. Also, just a reminder that we'll send you both some handouts and the recording of today's webinar within 24 hours after it has concluded. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mitchell, to get us started.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. And I want to thank JMT as well for allowing us to present and talk about digital payments revolution, cutting costs to reduce risk and turn AP into data source. And I'm Mitchell Yee, Senior Manager, Channel Partnerships. We're just going to cover a few things today. We're going to cover over what do finance teams need, digital payments and types of payments there are, how AP automation fits today's needs, and we'll introduce Bill.com and we'll open it up to Q&A. In the past year, finance teams have been upended and their priorities have been all over the place. Focus of the finance team has quickly shifted to being on the go and not in the office. So they need better information faster so they can manage the business depending on the current conditions. We're going to take a look at some of the things that can be put in place to help gain access. Some of the efficiencies can be gained are through technology. Boost productivity, streamline process by automating manual and repetitive work. Supply insight for better and faster decisions by integrating the financial tech stack, gaining real-time reporting and insight. Streamlining process and gaining real-time visibility into the cash flow lets them focus their resources on their core mission, getting back to what the company is focused on. When you think about places to gain efficiency, people often overlook an area where you can reduce risk and save money. And that is in your payments process. We'd like to understand a little bit about you and what type and how you're processing payments now. So we have a poll question here for you. And the question is, what type of payments do you process now? So I'll leave the poll question up here for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds here, and I'll have you fill out those answers. Couple of options are checks, ACH, credit cards, international wire, or cryptocurrency.
Okay, I'm going to go.
All right. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like most of you answered checks within here, and that's typically what we see currently in today's business model. So we're going to talk about next on the next slide here is what type of payments there are and the efficiencies and the downsides of those payments. So business to business payments or B2B payment types. There's many different types that you can use. Couple of types that we're going to talk about is the first one is ACH payments. These are digital payments made through an automated clearinghouse, and that's what ACH stands for, automated clearinghouse. A secure system for bank-to-bank transfers. A typical ACH transfer takes anywhere from a few hours to a few days to clear. These transactions don't happen in real time, but they are faster and involve less manual labor than paper checks and incur lower fees to the receiver than credit cards. So a couple things here, they're fast, they're easy to do. Con is that the payer must have a bank account And you always have to share information, typically with ACH, which can lead to a little bit of fraud. The speed is great, but the cost is low. The next payment we'll take a look at is credit card payments. B2B payments through credit cards are typically done with travel, entertainment, fleet, P cards, operate the same way as business to consumer, B2C card payments. They provide one of the fastest payment options, but they're one of the most expensive options for the receiver. So with credit cards, they're easy to use, fast payments. Some of the cons, you have potential for abuse. Lots of maybe employees have the corporate card, can utilize that and open up, take a lot of risk within there. It's fast payments. The downside is for vendors, it's really expensive. Paying that percentage, that merchant fee, is very expensive, and typically they don't want to do that. The next option that we typically see is a virtual card. Virtual card is a 16-digit one-time use credit card token that functions as a proxy for a physical credit card with a perpetual number. The virtual card offer a layer of protection and security. Because the card number or token can be used only once, and they also specify the amount of the payment and expiration date, it adds that extra level of security for you and the vendor to process that payment, eliminate some of that potential abuse for the risk. The downside, though, is it is still very expensive for your vendor, your receiver. And this is a cause still of hesitation for vendors to still even receive payment by credit card. The next option we'll take a look at is paper checks. Paper checks are very familiar to everyone. Still, at least 70% of businesses use check payments today, and they tend to overlook the cost behind it. With these payments that are made by check between business to business, and when some of the things that they overlook are going to be the labor involved with reviewing and approving a bill, cutting a paper check, aligning that paper check with the invoice, putting it on someone's desk for review and signing, matching the correct invoices with that correct payment. That takes time. It's all manual. It's very repetitive, things that are done very manually, and there's room for lots of error within there. Companies typically can take weeks, even months, to complete their AP process, and the security of checks is very low. Checks are easy to steal, forge, or lose. And every time a paper check leaves your company, it exposes your business to valuable banking account and routing information. That's all information someone needs to steal your money. So in the recap of the paper checks, they are easy to use. It's very time consuming, takes up a lot of manual resources. They're slow to get to the vendor, so it takes a lot of time to settle. And it can be very, very costly with all the manual labor involved. Next, we'll look at bank wires. Bank wires is a form of EFT, electronic funds transfer, which is just what it sounds like. Transferring funds electronically from one bank to another without any paper money changing hands. Bank wires are great. They're simplified, they're easy. You can be quick, they can take long depending on the currency and the country you're paying on. Some of the cons, though, is that they're non-reversible and they're very expensive to you. Typically, banks charge quite a bit for those. Next, we'll look at the cryptocurrency. It's an emerging payment form that is not yet widely used. Looks to be somewhat of the wave of the future, but it is very unfamiliar, and most vendors don't take cryptocurrency. It's got great speed, it's fast, it's immediate, and there's no bank fees. So as the future goes on, cryptocurrency could be something that might be becoming more and more common amongst it. As we transition into this, we'll take a look at some of the future of B2B payments. On this, paper checks remain the dominant form of payments across markets, even though creating them is so inefficient that they generate overhead cost. And checks are risky They got check fraud is one of the biggest risks of paying by check. Overall, nearly 60% of B2B payments in North America are still made with paper checks. Checks account for up to 80% of small and medium-sized business payments. But AP automation can really cut the cost by up to 75%. So transforming those check payments into digital form, including ACH, credit card, that can cut the cost quite a bit. Currently, digital payments such as ACH and credit cards only account for 36% of B2B payments today. This is something that can be vastly changed in an organization using some of the technology. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the cost. But before we do talk about the cost of payments, we have another poll question for you here. How much do you think it costs on average for your business to process an invoice? Think about the time, the amount of people involved from creating a payable, collecting that image, maybe the approvers involved, to signing and printing the check, the cost of that. Think about all of that cost and look at the options. Do you think it costs less than $1? Between $1 and $5, $5 and $10, $10 to $20, or over $20? And these are some options that you have, and leave it up here for another 15 to 20 seconds. All right. All right, so we got a few answers here. Looks like it's pretty split pretty evenly. One for between $1 and $5, one that's between 5 and 10, and one that is over $20. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of that in the next slide here. So your payments are costing you more than you think. The typical cost breakout from making business payments, keep in mind that 60% of these payments are made by check. I mentioned that creating checks is so inefficient that they generate high overhead costs, and that this is reflected here for a mid-sized business processing an invoice. It typically costs them $16 or greater. The smaller organization actually spends over $20. This is actually taken, and these shots are taken from a Goldman Sachs report of the average cost and average type of payments being made from B2B. So as you see, these are very expensive to do. Back-end function, cost of individuals, cost of manually mailing out the checks, manual reconciliation can be pretty costly. And the average is about $16 per check payment. And when we look at some of these, B2B payments are a huge inefficient market currently. Rolling these payment process costs up for the business of North American businesses, we're spending upwards of $510 billion just to make business-to-business payments. That's a big number. And the primary reason is that 70% of businesses are still making B2B payments by paper checks. And the average cost to the accounting firm to process one invoice is about $22 due to manual process. This cost is primarily made up of headcount, the time it takes to do it, and of course, some fees related to payment processing and some international payments, late fees, or return checks. This all adds up to $510 billion, which is about the annual revenue of Walmart. If you think about Walmart and how big they are, $510 billion is a big spend for small to medium businesses. When you look at those payments again, we touched a little bit on this, we want to kind of summarize the types of payments. Here's a good picture of these payments and how they're arranged to show cost and speed of each type. While cryptocurrency is very low cost, it's just not commonly used yet. The lowest cost payment types are ACH and credit cards, which are very commonly used amongst B2B payments and can be even more utilized amongst the businesses, as still only about 30% of businesses utilize really ACH and credit card payments. If you were to look at these payments and you were to think about the payment process and AP automation, we have another poll question, but how do you think your company could benefit from digital payments? So I'll leave this up again for about 30 to 45 seconds. And with these digital payments and how you think your company could benefit: faster payments, better payment security, online audit trail, paperless and touchless, low risk of theft, reduced processing cost. All right, we'll take a look at the results here. So it looks like paperless and touchless is one of them, and the other majority here is reduced processing cost. Those are great answers. And what we'll do here is we'll talk about reducing your costs by solving payment challenges. Updating your payment process to digital payments provides a pretty big opportunity to reduce cost and saving time. The first thing you'll do is save money by reducing the effort spent on making payments. Next, you'll save time. Digital payments can solve time-consuming B2B payment problems, letting you spend more time on your business, no more late nights getting vendors paid, fees for paying them late, or matching paper invoices to payments. And simply, if you think about the amount of time you'll get back, if you got family, you got great work-life balance, reducing the amount of labor behind payments and doing manual checks can free up time to spend with loved ones or do personal things that you love outside of work. And there's a way to save time and money and provide even more value to your organization by also streamlining your entire AP process. This is the most important and most valuable solution, helping you gain new insight. Why do we say that? Well, let's look at a typical AP process. Typical AP process is very manual, it's inefficient. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you see here. The reality of AP process, if you have an automated AP, is one of those processes that quickly takes more and more time and effort. People don't notice that it has become time consuming and is tedious, manual, and error prone until there's a sudden change in personnel or sudden change in the business condition like we've had over the past year. When people stop and look closely at what they're doing to pay bills, they find they're doing a lot of manual review and data entry, sometimes entering the same data in different systems. So if you think about how you first capture an invoice by mail, by email, you usually have to download that, maybe even upload that image onto the desktop, but you're saving it somewhere on your desktop. You're going into the accounting system, you're manually entering in information, new invoice number, bill date, due date, net terms, total amount. Maybe you're hitting clone or duplicate and just changing a few items on there. And then you're uploading that document. All of that is very manual. It's very time consuming, it's tedious. And in that process, you just spent an hour doing 20 bills. You don't even know it. You just spent that amount of time doing just a few bills. Next is the approval process. And this can be very tedious. You're handling paper, storing lots of paper. If you're doing it by email, emails get lost, papers get left on desk. People forget to respond to emails. And now you're tracking this outside of your core system. Tracking it outside of your core system now takes extra time that you didn't realize. Making sure that you follow up with those who haven't processed the bills or haven't approved the bills so payments aren't late. Once bills are finally approved, they have to be paid. They have to create paper checks print them out, get them signed, stuff them in the envelope, mail them out. Maybe they're doing payments through a bank. Maybe you're doing a notcha file, which is very tedious, time consuming, takes time to upload. Bank might reject it if one little thing is off, or someone's logging into the bank account, re-entering information, the dollar amount, when to pay, credit memo, all of those things are double entry. And typically if you're doing multiple types of payments, you are using multiple systems. If you're doing a credit card payment, typically logging into that vendor's online portal to make that payment, then manually reconciling that inside of the accounting software. ACH payments typically go through a bank, manually logging it back into the accounting system. Takes a lot of time to do that. And once payments are made, now you have to take the process of reconciling. Reconciling these payments can be painful. This is where a lot of error happens. This is where a lot of double checking, a lot of forecasting your cash flow into the next couple of 30, 60, 90 days. You're tracking these checks that have been deposited, reconciling them inside the accounting software, tracking those checks that haven't been deposited, and wondering when they're going to be deposited, trying to forecast how much you can spend next month on the most current bills. All of that is very manual and tedious. We can automate those things through technology. And overall, the manual process is repetitive. That AP process is ripe for automation. And we'll take a look here, the next slide, on how we're gonna be able to help gain efficiency through an AP automation like Bill.com. We create efficiencies through accounts payable in 4 simple steps. We start with receiving a bill and automatically capturing it with IVA. It's short for Intelligent Virtual Assistant. It is an artificial intelligence. You can use your mobile phone to capture that picture. If it comes in by mail, you can have the vendor send it in by email. You can drag and drop it. You can upload it into the system. Within a few seconds, our artificial intelligence, IVA, will capture that image, create a payable for you for review. It's that simple, it's that easy. No more downloading, no more uploading, no more manual entry. Next, it helps create the approval workflow. As it understands your approvers will be on there. So you simply review, hit save, it goes off to the approvers. Not only can you see who it went to, but you can track now all through an easy interface, which you'll see earlier, a little bit later on. You'll be able to see who had what, for how long they've had it, when you sent it to them, and you'll have collaborative messaging inside to remind them with automated reminders as well. This will help keep them on track to approve these bills. And if they're afraid to go digital, your mobile application is right there in front of them. Simply put your thumb on the screen, open it up with Face ID, and there it is. The image of the bill, approve or deny, you can see it all. Makes it simple, easy, eliminates having to track, eliminates having to remind, all automated, and puts it in the back pocket of those who have a phone. And once bills are approved, you can make payments. What's great is not only can you still do this from the mobile application, you have controls and securities around it, such as positive pay to prevent anyone from getting your account and routing number. We mask your account and routing number on those checks. We mask any vendor information, banking, or your information being exchanged between a bank to make ACH payments or wire payments. We also do virtual card. So we're going to eliminate the need to use multiple platforms to make different types of payments. All payments can be done through Bill.com. We make ACH payments, international wires, virtual card, and check payments with a click. It's all done simply in one platform without the need for double entry, without the need for going into multiple systems to make different types of payments. And as those payments are made, we automatically sync and reconcile with your Sage and tax system. Made for easy audits, as we are the only business bill payment solution partnered with CPA.com and the AICPA. We're the only business solution that has our money transmitting license in all 50 states, so our MTLs. We are also a solution that partners with top banks that have come to us to build our platform into their online banking for their business banks. We are compliant in every banking regulation as well, NACHA, OFAC. We also provide our SOC 1, Type 1s and Type 2 reports. So we're fully covered with those and make it for an easy audit when auditors come in. So we'll eliminate that need to manually reconcile with a bank statement. Those are 4 efficient ways to make your back office paperless, automated, flexible, and efficient. We are going to be able to create a paperless utopia that can help save you up to 50% or more time by eliminating that manual work associated with processing paper, invoices, checks, and getting approvals and recording payments in the accounting system. Simply put, we're going to transform AP pain into AP efficiency. We've shown you how AP automation with Bill.com transformed AP pain into AP efficiency. It changes your focus from history to investigation, what happened, to planning for the future. So if we look at this, we're going to look at traditional AP. It's focused on history. We're going to look at transformed AP, which is forward-looking and agile. And we're going to touch base on these from a manual, repetitive process that involves a lot of paper. We're going to change it to fast and automated, saving time and money. From touching, scanning, and storing paper, transform it to paperless in the cloud. Make it easier to find documents, easier for audits, and make it easier to answer questions. From chasing down approvers, we're going to transform that into automated reminders, mobile approval and view, audit trails. Super efficient and convenient, especially for those who are non-accounting users. From sending checks, cutting checks, getting them signed, putting them in the envelope, mailing them out, tracking those, we're going to turn that into digital payments with a click. All payments can be done inside of Bill.com, easy tracking, easy audit. From manual reconciliation, we're going to transform that into automated sync with Sage Intacct. This manual reconciliation and shuffling around between the bank and shuffling on which checks have deposited, not deposited, you're going to be able to move past this very quickly and easily and really focus on the reporting aspect. And all of this is done here through Bill.com. And Bill.com is a leader in the market. We are a trusted leader in AP automation. We have thousands of customers using Bill.com with Sage Intacct, creating a better together solution. We have over 109,000 customers today using Bill.com. And we are moving more than $133 billion annually through Bill.com. This is something that is not a small feat. It's not something you just do overnight. As a trusted leader in AP automation, being a public company with over 100,000 customers, this is something that we take very serious. What's great is the system doesn't take long at all to get up and running. It's easy to set up and sync. We can get you started in days, not weeks. On average, roughly about 4 to 5 hours of setup time and training time included in there, and you're up and running. Now we're just going to take a look at some of our quotes that we have from a few of our clients. This is from Arvo. And Arvo is an association for research in vision and ophthalmology. It's the largest eye and vision research organization in the world with over 12,000 researchers from 75 countries. In addition to greater visibility into their cash flow, transactions, and trends, Arvo has seen significant time savings. The team can now spend more time on employee development, resulting in improved retention. Georgetown Visitation Preparatory is a college preparatory high school for girls. Roberta says we had fairly typical AP issues with a lot of manual and inefficient process. They pay about 250 bills a month on average. Whenever anyone had a question about a bill, they'd call their AP person and she'd have to sift through stacks of folders to find out what they needed. It was just torturous. Now, if anyone has a question, I can just go right into bill.com, look it up for myself. So it's easy that I don't have to get anybody else involved with inquiries anymore. These are some great quotes that we have from some of our bill.com clients. And we're just going to switch over to another quick poll question here. But what's the biggest benefit your company would get by automating your AP system? What do you think is the biggest benefit you'd get? We'll leave this up for about 30 seconds here, but spend less time on AP, go paperless, get more insight into payables, make approvals easier, manage AP from my mobile phone. Just some of the options that you have here. All right, just a few more seconds. And we'll take a look at some of the results here. So majority of you chose spend 50% less time on AP. Great choice. As we move on here, we'll just take a look at different types of clients that utilize bill.com, all types of clients within here, small, medium, large, many not-for-profits. Not-for-profits is a very strong point for us based on our compliances and securities around money movement and our system in general. So it's just something that we can see within bill.com and have a great reach and help with not-for-profits. Now we're going to take a quick look at a little bit of bill.com and the demo. So you get a little brief introduction to what the user interface looks like. It all starts right here with our intelligent virtual assistant, IVA, boosting productivity by eliminating the manual work of scanning in invoices and streamlining the process by starting the bill for you. There are 3 ways to get the bills into the system. You can email, have the vendor email it right in. Within seconds, it'll be there. Drag and drop, you can upload, you can even use our mobile application, snap a picture, it'll start the process for you. The intelligent virtual assistant catches duplicates right away and starts to populate information for you, eliminating that manual data entry and that manual upload and download of documents. With unlimited document storage, you don't have to worry about hitting a cap on documents either. When IVA takes a look at this bill, we will populate information for you. We'll populate the invoice number, we'll populate the PO number, we'll populate an invoice date, a bill date, a due date, net terms, the amount. We'll populate all of that information for you. As IVA learns, we have machine learning as well that will help understand your GL accounts, your dimensions, and your approvers. So you can have different things within here that will automatically populate for you so you don't have to manually populate them yourselves, eliminating that manual data entry for you. We even have bill approvals based on dollar amount. So you can set rules that if a bill is equal to or greater than $5,000, must have my CFO on this approval. And so if a bill from a vendor is typically not around that $5,000 range, it's much less. And all of a sudden a bill comes in from this vendor and it's over $5,000, it's going to give you a little message. It's going to let you know that, hey, in order to process this bill and get it on through the approval, we got to add this CFO in here. So it helps with maintaining not only catching duplicate records and maintaining that database, but it also helps with making sure that the appropriate approvers are on here as well. We also have either or. So if you have a department that can potentially approve a bill, you can add that department within this bill and it will send off to all of those approvers within that either or option. And as long as one of them approves it, it goes on to the next step. And we'll take a look at some of that. The approval process is very simple. It's going to be easy. It's going to be automated. It's going to be fast and simple. With a single click, even from their mobile phone, as I'll show here, it'll go right into showing them the bills that they have to approve. It'll show them the invoice image. It'll show them all the details of GL and dimensions. And it'll also show any collaborative messaging. Someone may be asked a question on here. I need to respond to it. I'll get notified, respond right back so we can get the bill approved. All of this in here makes it very easy to do with our award-winning mobile application. Lets you really collaborate with notes, see the images and the GL accounts, and approve payments all within here. You can even create the bills from this mobile application. This really truly lets you be anywhere and put your back office in your back pocket. Once those approvals are done, you'll start with really seeing everything here. CFO, VP of Finance, Controller, they want to know what's going on in Bill.com. And our simple overview page will allow them to see not only bills that need to be paid, bills that are past due, bills that are coming up in the next 7 days, but they'll be able to see right here as well which approvers have what bills for approval, how long they've had them for, and you can dive right in to see which bills those are and have collaborative messaging and push them along with more notifications of getting these bills approved. You can see payments that are going out and scheduled, and you can dive into each one of these even further. And we'll show you from the next screen how it's even easier to make payments all from a single screen. So within here, you have the ability to pay by check, domestic ACH transfer, wire transfer, or virtual card. All 4 payments available to you through Bill.com. And the great thing is you still have the control of when a vendor gets paid, how they're getting paid. All of that is still controlled by you within here. So within this date and time that you want to pay those bills, you can schedule them 30 days out. You can schedule them for payment 60 days out. You can schedule them for payment tomorrow, and payments will start to go out. Makes it very easy to do everything all in one platform, and it all syncs back to your accounting software. So it'll sync back with Sage Intacct. It's an automated sync. You can always hit just the sync now button, have it sync right then and there, but it will help process these payments, sync all of this payment information back to your Sage Intacct and reconcile to your journal entry cash account, eliminating that manual reconciliation. We'll take a look at just some of the things that it does sync within the system here. And within the system of syncing, you can see that it is a very robust sync. There's actually multiple different ways to set up Bill.com to Sage Intacct based on how Sage Intacct is set up. Whether you have a single entity, multi-entity environment, we can sync with it. This is just a little sneak peek here, and we can definitely talk more about this in depth based on your organization's needs. But we're just going to recap here again some of the transforming AP to AP efficiency. So I've talked about different types of payments that businesses use, showing how costly and risky the most familiar payments types is. That's paper check. I've shown you how a typical AP process works. No one intends that their payment process to be inefficient and expensive. It just happens over time as the company grows and people change roles. I've shown you how you can streamline your payment process with Bill.com, making it easy and efficient. With your AP process running smoothly and easily automated and paperless, you'll gain something that our customers love. You'll be able to spend time on your core mission of the business, spend time with your family, doing things you love outside of work, instead of chasing down checks, chasing approvers, becoming support for vendors, wondering when a payment's going to get to them. All of that is taken care of through Bill.com. We'd love for you to take a closer look at Bill.com, and you can contact myself, and I'll have some information up in just a second, or you can contact your trusted advisor in JMT. So I definitely recommend reaching out to them, letting them know that you're interested in Bill.com. You can reach out to us. Just let us know if you do reach out to myself or Bill.com that you are with JMT, and we can help bring them into the conversation as well to make sure everything aligns. And I have one last poll question for you here. Actually, I have two more, but one more poll question here for you right now. And that is, what's most important when you're buying a software tool? So if you think about all the times you purchase a software tool, what are some of the most important things that you looked at when you were buying a tool? Security of the solution, syncs with your existing tools, peers recommend it, fast and easy integration, or price. I'm going to leave this up for about another 20 to 30 seconds here. All right. Let's go ahead and see some of those results. And it looks like majority was syncs with your existing tools and fast, easy integration, which are all things that Bill.com can definitely do, syncing with your Sage Intacct, and it's fast and easy integration. One last question here. It's just, are you interested in hearing more about Bill.com? If you are, please let us know. Definitely help out. And JMT can help get you contacted with us. You can reach out to myself. We'll make sure we bring JMT along as well. All right. And looks like everyone said yes. That's great. We'll definitely make sure we're in contact with you. And we'll open it up now for some Q&A. So don't forget to reach out to myself, Mitchell Yee, Senior Manager, Channel Partnerships. My email and phone number are here. As well as don't forget to reach out to JMT. And JMT will definitely reach out to us. So I definitely recommend always reaching out to JMT as your trusted advisor and consultant, and bring them along in the process anytime you're looking at any type of software solution. They have many, many years of consulting amongst technology and know what works best with your Sage Intacct. And Lauren, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mitchell, for your presentation. And we'll be sending out Mitchell's contact information in the slides following the webinar. So it looks like we have a question here. What would the average cost be per month for a company that processes 250 to 300 AP invoices per month? They use Sage Accounting.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple ways to look at this. If you're talking about the volume of just AP invoices, there's no charge for AP invoices. So the way we charge with Bill.com is there are 2 annual recurring costs that you'll want to think of, and then a one-time cost for implementation and training. So there will be a one-time cost when you get started with Bill.com for implementation and training. And then there's annual cost that you'll think of as in 2 ways. There's going to be a user cost. So a type of user in Bill.com will give a different type of pricing, but there's going to be a user price based on their access to Bill.com. That's typical annual recurring cost. And then a transaction is another way that we charge for. So we don't charge for documents. We don't charge for the data entry of documents. We just charge if you decide to make payments through Bill.com. So if you have 250 to 300 payments through Bill.com and actual payments, not just invoices, then our highest cost payment is $1.69 per check, which includes positive pay, includes masking your account and routing number, tracking of those checks, envelope stamp, all of that. You're looking at about $1.69 per check times, we'll just go 300 as the most, as the highest volume. You're looking at about $507 just in payments. And then depending on the users or how many users access Bill.com and what level of access they have will also be added to that in a monthly cost. I'm going to assume through this though, that you're not making 300 check payments every month, that this is more towards the AP invoice. So I hope that answers your question. I can definitely give you more detail. If you reach out to me, we can analyze that cost. Any other
Sorry.
questions?
I was on mute. We have another question here. What is the process to get up and running on Bill.com?
Yeah, great question. The process is pretty simple. There's going to be a 30-minute kind of a consultation alignment call just to ensure that what was talked about through your decision of moving forward with Bill.com and implementing it, it still stayed the same. A lot of that is based on what you're using in Intact and your workflow. The second call is about an hour and a half, and this is the actual implementation. This will actually have you set up and fully running on Bill.com, syncing with Sage Intacct, adding all of your users, setting up their appropriate roles, their appropriate notifications, adding the bank account to make payments through, setting up the appropriate individuals who can make those payments, any workflow, routing of approval, any other setup as far as setting dollar thresholds for certain approvers. All of that will be done in an hour and a half. So if you think about the actual implementation, 2 hours of time, and then training can depend a little bit on just how big the team is. Typical training is about another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of training. I usually split up into 2 sessions, one for more functional users who are going to create bills, maybe an administrator who's going to set up the, kind of understand how to add and remove users, maybe add and remove users from a bank account. There'll be one training, usually about an hour, and then we separate another one for your approver users because they're a very simplified role, and that's about another half hour. If they're a larger team, we'll split it into a couple different sessions for them, so you don't have to have everyone do it all at once. But typically, you're looking at about 4 to 5 hours of total setup time.
Great. And then let's see, we do have another question here. Why would I need to add Bill.com to Intacct? Doesn't Intacct do all of this?
Intact's a great solution, and it can do a lot of things. Intacct is really good at being the core function of accounting, and that's their mission, right? Is not to be this biggest ERP out there, but to focus on the core function of accounting, and they're great at that. All your reporting, users in there, getting reports out of there, focusing everything back into Sage Intacct is exactly what you want. Just an example of things that we are able to enhance Sage Intacct with is the artificial intelligence in coding bills. So something we have the ability to do is have a dedicated inbox that vendors can send the bills into that you don't have to look into and download and then upload after you create a bill. So if you create a bill in Sage Intacct, you still got to upload that bill into Sage Intacct. With Bill.com, we'll capture that image of the bill through email. We'll do the data entry to eliminate that manual entry of vendor name, GL account, dimensions, approvers. All of that will be done through Bill.com. So you review it versus having to create it every single time. So that's just an example. And then our payment types, you can do all payments, not just check payments, but you can do ACH payments, you can do wire payments, virtual card, and check, all through Bill.com versus being more limited to just check payments printing from the accounting system. So those are a couple examples. There's a few others that we do to help enhance Sage Intacct, but those are just a few things that are highlighted that we can definitely do.
Okay, perfect. Again, thank you so much, Mitchell. And as everyone can see on the screen, if you're ready to chat about more about how your organization can cut costs and turn your AP into a valuable data source using Bill.com, we'd love to chat with you one-on-one. So for anyone that books a short consultation with our nonprofit experts by the end of the day, I will send you a $10 gift card, Starbucks gift card, so you can enjoy a cup of coffee on us while we chat. So all you have to do is just visit jmtconsulting.com/book to get started, and we'll connect with you. We'll also do some follow-up calls following this, so we'll talk to you then also. I apologize, it's by the end of the day, Monday on May 17th. So we look forward to speaking with you, and thank you so much everyone for joining us today, and thank you Mitchell and Carol for being here as well.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for for joining and listening in for an hour. Really appreciate it. Hope to hear from you.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.